Welcome back to the day 5 of the summer course on disaster medicine organized by Faculty of Medicine Universitas Diponegoro. We will continue our next lecture session for the day 5 for today's agenda. For this third lecture session, we will discuss about how local wisdom in Indonesia can be utilized to maintain food security, which will be delivered by Mr. Fitriyono Ayu Staningwarno, Bachelor of Food Technology, Master of Science PhD. Mr. Fitriyono Ayu Staningwarno is a lecturer in the Department of Nutrition Science, Faculty of Medicine Universitas Diponegoro. He earned his doctoral degree from Wageningen University in Food Quality and Design. His research focuses on food design, quality, and nutrition. So please join with us, Mr. Ayusta.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Good? All's good? So we having multiple nationality here from Japan, Philippines, Netherlands, in Indonesia. I have one question from student from Netherlands. Which university are you come from? Nijmegen. Oh yeah, it's about 30 minutes from Wageningen. Wageningen. Yeah. It's difficult to say. So today I will presenting my research about promoting Indonesian local wisdom in maintaining food security. So it's about sharing. So you will come to discuss anytime during my presentation. So the first I want to highlight the definition for the food security itself. The food security exists when all people at all the time have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food that meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life. There's a highlight that I want to emphasize here for the food preference. That's why I want to talk about the Indonesian wisdom. So if you have different food preferences, so it will have different food security explanation. And the second definition is food and nutrition security exists when all people at all time have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient and safe food that meet their dietary needs and food preference for an active, healthy life coupled with a sanitary environment, adequate health services and care. Once again, it's involve food preference. So in this next presentation, I will highlight more about the food preference, especially in Indonesia. Why we need to highlight local? Because emergent methods for processing local foods can contribute to addressing food security by enhancing the availability and affordability of local foods, also boosting their nutritional quality and maintaining the heritage of customary food practices. How this local food processing can boosting their nutritional quality, I will later discuss on how such food can be upgraded with several kind of processing. And also the local food is easy to get, so it's usually affordable because there's no transportation costs, so we can get the food at low price. Local foods usually offer greater nutritional benefit compared to non-indigenous alternative, largely because they are cultivated or prepared using conventional technique, free from synthetic chemical or pesticide. Because the need of that chemicals and pesticides usually diminish when we get local food. For example, if our neighborhood grow their own tomatoes, so we doesn't need to put a preservative or a coating to the tomato. So we just get the tomato and then eat it in several days, for example, in 1 week maximum. But if we buy remotely, for example, from neighboring country, from Malaysia or from Africa region, for example, it's need months or maybe weeks of travel. So the product need to be preserved. Furthermore, this food typically provide a rich source of vitamins, mineral, and antioxidant, which are essential for maintaining good health. I will explain you later. The first product that I want to introduce for this course is ginger. Ginger was spread in tropical countries, including Indonesia. And that's why in the past, Western country, including Netherlands, Spain, England, went to tropical countries to get this ginger and other spices. Components like gingerol, sohanol, paradol, and zingerone contribute to its health properties. Those component mechanisms such as NRF2 signaling pathway activation and NF-beta activation are effective in modulating the immune system by reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. That's why this ginger is highly sought by people for its medical application and also for taste. For example, if you make fried rice, it's always recommended to use a slice or 2 slices of ginger, so you can upgrade the flavor of the fried rice. The second food that I want to emphasize is non-centrifugal cane sugar, or NCS. You can call it gula merah, kokuto, dogmat, gula melaka, gur, and chicory in other countries. This sugar product, whispered in most of Asia countries, including Japan, Vietnam, and Malaysia. This product was manufactured from sugarcane syrup without molasses removal. That's why the sugar color is brown to black, because the molasses is not removed. Because of that, it has a distinguished characteristic. For example, the brown color that was produced during the heating process, it's called Maillard reaction. So it's produced a lot of flavor and many bioactive compounds. This product, because of its processing, can have a lot of mineral, volatile organic components, which affecting the flavor and also the taste, and various bioactive compounds that have biological benefits such as antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-obesity, and anti-diabetic properties. Of course, in sufficient number. For example, if you eat that sugar too much, you of course will get obesity because of the energy intake is too high. But if you eat it at moderate number, you will have those benefits. For example, this mineral composition, the composition of NCS from East Java in Indonesia, it's have notably high natrium content. This natrium content was come from the special production technique that used in the making of sugar. But also if you see there's a variation of zinc content of the NCS. In this zinc content, we can see that most of the Vietnam and Malaysia sugar have high zinc content. This zinc content usually beneficial to your immune system, so you will have benefit after eating this sugar. For the flavor, likewise, if you see, it's little bit interesting that Japanese sugar have similar taste with Indonesian sugar from East Java. So if you want to enjoy Japanese kokuto, you not really need to go there, just eat the Indonesian gula merah. The next food that I want to introduce to you is a little bit rare even for Indonesian people. That is kawista. Is the fruit like this. It's often mentioned by wood apple name because of the appearance like apple, but if you see, it's kind of a woody texture. So it's very thick layer of skin outside, but very soft inside. At that time, we made a jelly product rich with wood apple juice and soybean powder to use the product for the supplementary feeding for children under 5 years age. This product, because of the constituent, can produce product with high protein, fiber, and calorie, which is very suitable to maintain the food security. The next product is red bean and mocaf. Red bean is kidney bean like this, and mocaf is the produced from cassava, which is modified with fermentation, so it will have distinguished profile. For example, it will have a high fiber. Those biscuit will have quite high protein for 20% and considerably high dietary fiber and low total sugar content, which is very beneficial to children which sensitive to sugar. I also want to introduce you to insect as food. It's increasing popularity of insect in worldwide because of the issue of the greenhouse gas production, which produced by cattle and other means of processing, and then this insect have very low greenhouse gases production, so it's becoming popular. Insect as well are becoming staple in Indonesia in several regions. For example, grasshopper is popular in Gunung Kidul region nearby Yogyakarta. We made these crackers from grasshopper with 5% of grasshopper flour, and we in several months ago we managed to increase the bulk flour until 40%. So it will produce a product with higher protein than we had at that time. In this time, we only able to produce crackers with 2% of protein, but at this time we can increase for about 20%. So it's promising to produce a product with this insect. For the take-home message, that food security exists when all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preference for an active and healthy life. And then emerging methods for processing local foods can contribute to addressing food security. And then many local foods including ginger, NCS, wood apple, cassava, super can be contribute to maintain food security. That's all for today. Thank you very much. I will welcome you for the question and answer session. If you may have a question, please do so.
Good day. I'm Janelle from the Philippines, and you mentioned in your lecture that an option is insects as food. So how could we introduce insects to those from the urban cities or those with picky tastes? Thank you.
Yes, it's very interesting question. In Asia, for example, Thailand have a very huge culture for eating wool insect. I saw it in the lot of videos in YouTube like that. But to introduce insect to bigger population is a problem because there is a factor that's usually called yak factor. You becoming this not likely to have that form of insect in your plate. There's a lot of research that going on how to increase the consumption of insect. For example, is changing the form. The first is the wool insect, which may be liked by people who adventurous enough. For example, who want to really try a shape like scorpion and other thing. But for people that doesn't like it, they can try the floor version, so in a powdered version. The problem with the powdered version, if you put it into food, for example, in my research, they put into crackers. After 40% of substitution with wheat flour, the dough becoming very sticky. It's because of the chitin and chitin that usually come from the skin of the insect. It will absorb a lot of water. That characteristic will prevent the concentration of the insect substitution higher than 40%. However, there's a lot of another research that can variety to increase the consumption of insect. For example, we can isolate the bioactive compound. For example, if we only want to take the lipid that contain in the insect, we can extract only the lipid. So we can produce a lot of product. For example, bioactive lipid from insect, and also biosurfactant, because the fatty acid that come from insect can be used as emulsifier. And then you can also isolate another thing, for example, the protein. In this maybe next 1 year, we have research to isolate the protein from mealworm. It's one of the famous insect in the entomology. We produce hydrolyzed protein from the protein come from mealworm. So we can have a higher, we maybe can have higher chance to put the protein into the crackers. So we hope we can increase up to 60% or more to the crackers. So we can produce that crackers that have a very high protein that come from insect. Thank you. Maybe that's all. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.